Thomas? I'm just clicking on the YouTube live button a little bit in advance. It takes a little while. Hey, Jeremy.
We having fun yet?
Yes, we'll give it one more minute here and then get started. It looks like a number of people accepted today. It'd be kind of boring if it was just Thomas and Jeremy and I, but it'd be okay. Hey, Jay. We'll start in just another 30 seconds.
Hey, team, what's going on?
Afternoon, Jay, or should I say good morning? Is it morning or afternoon where you and Thomas are at?
It's just past lunch for me. So
Okay.
I'll be snacking as soon as this meeting's over.
It is very PM here.
Where
Not
you at,
night, but
Jeremy?
it's PM. Yeah, not night, but it is PM.
All right, so why don't we get started? I'm sure a couple more will join. It's the May 17th Growth DataScience staff meeting. So we got a couple celebrations. Thomas or Jay, you want to read those two since those celebrate,
sure.
put them in there, are not here right now, which is just fine, of course.
Sure. Yep. Phil's item, great feedback on compliance frameworks from a large customer. Keep up the great work, group compliance, and Nathan. And then I'll continue reading. Chiago has all thread insights removals for 16.0 made it into the release. That's an awesome win there.
I got the next one is congrats to the Thread Insights team on being able to retire the error budget exception, meaning the errors are now in check. That's great. I know Neil and Tiago and others have been working on that for quite a while to get that. It's been a lot of work to get there. And now things are more reliable, and the logs show that too. Logs and graphs that we use to measure that show that too. So good stuff. In news and events, code suggestions are now live for all free users. Hooray. Nice work getting it this far by Mon and her team and everyone else involved, including Stan and many in infrastructure, et cetera. So it's a lot of fun to see the usage go like this. On big rocks and hot issues, somebody want to verbalize Tiago's?
Yeah, I could take that one. Tiago calls out that we should not underestimate the number of users that pin or hardcode the analyzer version of their CI templates. A little extra context around that. Once we upgraded our analyzers to version 15 of the report schema, we saw a spike in some validation failures. So after noticing that, we had started reaching out to the customers that were affected by these spikes, noticing that they are pinned to previous versions that are no longer supported. So just a call out there and something to not underestimate moving forward.
I don't have an issue to link to for this, but I've seen it happen more than once. There's a related or orthogonal practice where customers will copy the vendor templates we have to their own projects, effectively freezing them in time. Scary, but it happens.
Yeah, and I think the approach with that is asking them to then update that vendor template to the latest version, or adopt the new version with the changes that exist. So could be one or the other.
So on B, there's a time sensitive, request where we're working to get code suggestions configuration to be per user rather than being per, I'm using the wrong term, not per project. I think it's per project per user. So it looks like we have the engineers. This came in hours ago that we wanted to make this change and getting into production and deployed by tomorrow, early tomorrow if possible. So engineers are on it already. It's been kind of normal, great GitLab. A couple people were familiar with it, but they're actually off Thursday and Friday. So they're working on it today a bit. And then I said, hey, in hashtag development, anybody want to help with this? And already got 3 volunteers, which is pretty cool. And do want to, you know, doing things quickly is not always easy. So I do want EMs to keep an eye on it to drive it to completion, since we do want it in production and deployed. So Phil, I know you mentioned you can take it during APAC hours, and we talked about it earlier, which is great. I'll take, oops, put in the notes. I will take America's time zone tomorrow. Be great to have APAC covered. Of course, APAC folks are sleeping right now. So I think, Phil, you were going to ask Camille or Alan if they could keep an eye on it tomorrow, their time.
Yeah, for EMEA, I will. Yeah, Jay, you also, I think you had your hand up or something. Is this something you wanted to be involved in as well?
I was merely going to correct Wayne that APAC is waking up. Here's proof with Phil right here.
Yes. Good point. We may need engineers, so it may not be just the EMs driving, but engineers, you know, to do the reviews and then the maintenance reviews and the et cetera. That we may need help around the clock on that, but we'll see.
Jay, your thoughts on asking Yuji and Alex? They cover APAC and EMEA, just if we need additional developer support there.
Yeah, that's possible. I excluded my team. Wayne asked me directly, but we have a kind of high profile item that we're trying to tend to right now. So if they do have capacity, they should be focusing on higher priority item.
Amr, do you
No
have
problem.
any in back end and front end in what regions do you have back end and front end engineers?
Yeah, I have back end and front end in all, APAC as well.
I know just because you're here doesn't mean you get that your team gets to help, but it's you know, and you know, other managers didn't make it today, which is totally fine, but maybe just something to consider as well.
Yeah, definitely. I could check.
It's not a large amount of work. It's not tiny either. It's small, medium to small amount of work. One relatively small front end change, one relatively small back end change, but I think it also has a data migration too, which those are not always simple.
Yeah, I can check on capacity there and I'll let them know.
Okay. Thanks. And Thomas, maybe well, Olivier's probably not Olivier's spoke since they're on continuous vulnerability scanning, but you know, if we don't get enough, I mean, we're asking across all teams, not just mine, but maybe we'll see how it goes. We don't need to overdo this. We don't want to underdo it. We don't overdo it. So cool. So Jeremy is my shadow this week and happens from outside GitLab, happens to work for one of our customers and has works directly with GitLab in some self-hosted instances. So Jeremy, any impressions so far from being a shadow?
Oh, it's been great so far this week. I've enjoyed meeting everybody that's been in the meetings this week. I like what I talked to with Phil earlier, the asynchronous work. It's pretty cool to see that in action, and that everything doesn't have to be driven by a meeting. So that's been pretty cool. And everyone that I've talked to has been as does love working for GitLab. So it's not a bad deal.
Jeremy, is there any practices that you're looking to take home to the company that you work for?
Yeah, actually, so I like, so the majority of these meetings have been time boxed to 30 minutes, and right at 30 minutes, everyone says goodbye and dials off. I can't tell you how many meetings I am in a week where it's supposed to be 30 and 45 minutes or an hour in, we're still kind of just sitting there chit chatting. I like that it's precise. So when you dial into a meeting, there's already an agenda to follow through. And once that agenda is met, then you dial off. And then after that, everything is taken care of in Slack or what other messaging apps you guys use. And I like code suggestions whenever it becomes available for self-hosted. If that's a possibility in the future, I think that'll be a game changer. Like what Wayne said, majority of
it'll be available. We're actually working right now to make it available to internet connected, self-hosted, but not area self-hosted. Because of the it may come in the future. It takes some specialized hardware, GPUs, to run the suggestions so they come back in a reasonable amount of time.
Or maybe like a light version somehow.
Maybe we haven't gone that far, but we do want to support air gap customers too at some point. I think there's also this concept of dedicated that I think we're working on, where it's cloud hosted in our cloud, but it is a dedicated instance for a customer where there's no customer data in the same GCP instance, for example. So I don't know if that would meet your needs or not, but I think that we're thinking about things like that too, where we manage it, but it's a separate instance. And I think we're also planning to do that with separate instances that are FedRAMP certified, although that's not ready yet. So the combination of those things may not meet your needs, but if they do, that might be the way to go.
I think that could meet the criteria of what we're looking for, because I think we're, without getting into specifics, we're maybe shifting more towards a dedicated service.
Huh, that's neat. So Muna, my favorite question, what's top of mind for everyone? So mine is AI number 1, AI number 2, AI number 3, and AI number 4, and DevSecOps adoption, like continuous vulnerability scanning and other great features that Thomas and Phil's teams are working on.
I think I've got the first item here. Just continuing to support trust and safety. Top of mind.
They really appreciate it, Jay. I just talked with Joaquin one-on-one. I do it with him periodically, and he's really appreciative. He and his team really appreciated the work of your team.
It's top of mind for me. We just wrapped up one major SemGraph conversion, and that's Scala. We're working on wrapping up the second one, Node.js Scan. And another big item is putting together an implementation plan for the redesign merge request changes tab. So it's an iterative approach to it, and it's looking great. More to come on that.
It all helps to drive DevSecOps adoption, the Sec and DevSecOps adoption, which is great.
Definitely.
All right. Wayne, since you gave a top 5 list, I'm going to give a top 2, and they're not related. The one recruiting, we're having to pull the dynamic analysis job posting because of the number of applications, which has been phenomenal and very hard to try to keep up with. I haven't seen one come in with, I haven't seen 800 applicants for a position before. So that was kind of fun. But unrelated to this, but also top of mind. Do some features need to have a new DRI or a new group associated with them? What's most immediately coming to mind is the config UI, which dynamic analysis used to contribute to quite heavily, but with its current size does not have the capacity to do so anymore. And there's a good number of issues in its backlog that are related to it. So trying to think through something that's stable or sustainable would be a good way. That's the best way of putting it.
That's not a top 5, Tom. I only see one bullet point. Where's your other 4?
No, Wayne did the top 5. I said I was going to do a top 2. You were typing.
I'm juggling various requests for help and support, such as the one above about the follow the sun coverage for that AI issue. There's a few other things going on in that space as well. The Emerging Talent Working Group, something I'm interested in. We're looking at the next version of internships across GitLab. There's a working group page if you want to go and find out more about that. Error budgets, we're getting rid of the error budget exception for Threat Insights, and looking across all our groups at what we need to do to make sure we stay on top of error budgets in Q2. And there's a real focus on the key deliverables for Q2 across all of our groups. Christopher's got a Google Doc where he's mapping product KRs to development KRs, and we're making sure we're aligned there and that we're actually tracking the right things. And I know that's only 4. Sorry, Thomas.
All right. Let's see. I'll read number 6 on thanks and gratitude. So Tiago is thanking Neil and Phil for covering his long-deserved absence while he was out traveling and visiting family, particularly in the midst of all the AI work. So it's great as I see lots of use of the explain the vuln and suggest a fix feature, which is pretty neat. That
I love that he included deserved in that.
good stuff. All right, we're at end of agenda. Thanks, everybody. Have a great day.